Busch Series, won a championship in the Busch Series. He raced with the USAC sprint cars and the midgets and the Silver Crown. I mean, I used to watch Jeff Gordon when I was a kid, and he was a young adult on Thursday Night Thunder on ESPN. Hey, how many people remember that back in the day? You know, from IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park. I used to love that show. You know, so, yeah, I mean, it's just time for a new breed of superstars to come in, and I think that's what's happening. I really do.
You know, I look back, we talk about Jeff Gordon, and I don't mean to flash back on age or anything like that, but, you know, I worked for many years for Val LeSueur, which is the, at one time, the owner, editor, and publisher with Speedway Scene newspaper, one of the largest distributions of newspaper next to Gator Racing News out of New England. And
one of the first besides National Speed Sport News.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can remember, but we used to do a show back up in New England for many, many years called Race-A-Rama. And Race-A-Rama was a very big event that took place usually around the first week of March up in the Springfield Civic Center up there in Massachusetts. And I can remember, you know, when I worked for Val up there, going to the airport and picking up the drivers that would come in up there, you know, for Friday night and Saturday night for autograph sessions. And back when Jeff Gordon first got into NASCAR with the Busch Series at that time, when the Baby Ruth deal come in. Go ahead, Wesley.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Baby Ruth car. Yeah.
And, you know, that deal right there, I can remember going down to the airport and picking up Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Wallace, Ricky Craven, and bringing them back to the hotel. And we all had a hotel together up there. And I remember talking to Jeff, fresh out of California, fresh into the circuit here with NASCAR. You know, basically, was he a big name? No. Was he an up-and-coming star? Oh, yeah, there was definitely a deal. Bobby Labonte had the M&M window deal at that time with the Busch Grand National car. Ricky Craven got on the deal there, had the DuPont ride. Kenny Wallace, you know, with his deal. But I can remember sitting down with Jeff Gordon there having lunch. We all stayed at the Super 8 Motel up there in Massachusetts. And I can remember sitting down up there talking with Jeff and Bobby about their career in NASCAR. And, you know, to sit down there at that time and talk with Jeff Gordon, you know, I mean, he was only 21 years old. You know, he was fresh into NASCAR. The Baby Ruth deal was a hot thing. He was a hot ticket. He was a hot item on the NASCAR circuit. But I can remember sitting there, and the conversation that we had with Jeff was, you know, your future, your career with NASCAR. He had no clue where he was going to be today. But what he did have at that time was a 100% positive attitude, but not a cocky attitude. His attitude was very meek, very mild, but very positive of, yes, I'm in NASCAR now. I have a goal that I want to set, and I'll get there. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll get there. And now I look back, and here he is getting ready to retire. You know, it's a walk back in history, Wesley, when I can remember sitting down there the first time I ever met Jeff and talked with him and Bobby and Kenny about their careers in NASCAR. And you look at them today, and it seems like, I mean, just a short time ago, but yet it's so many years. Jeff Gordon going to retire now. The 24 ride, you know, is not going to die, but Jeff Gordon stepping out. I mean, Wesley, have you ever sat back and just realized how fast and how quick time can go by with the memories of NASCAR?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Great pages of racing history are written in NASCAR. And again, as you said, he was humbled. And you know, that May night in 2000, that May night in 1994 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where Jeff Gordon won his first ever NASCAR Winston Cup Series race, now Sprint Cup Series, at the Coca-Cola 600. You know, I can remember seeing the emotion on his face and the tears rolling down his eyes and looking at the accolade that he had accomplished. And a lot of people knew right out of there he was going to be a star. You know, this is the thing that's wrong with a lot of people in motorsports, and not I'm not trying to harp the fans in general, but everybody says, "Oh, NASCAR, Sprint Cup, Sprint Cup, Sprint Cup." Jeff Gordon had a great career with the Busch Series. He had a great career with the USAC. And same thing with Tony Stewart. You just can't. I don't know why people underline themselves that. Well, if you're not a Sprint Cup driver and you're not a winning driver, you're not a contender. You shouldn't have that title. To me, that's BS. Because you got to work your way. You got to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can climb. You got to climb before you can soar. And I had a good friend of mine tell me that, and how I built my career up at what I've done with announcing and doing things. Nobody steps off the bus and drives in the Daytona 500, or runs wins at Charlotte or what have you. And Jeff Gordon, again, we talk about Tony Stewart retiring, Jeff Gordon retiring. They've done it all. What is there left to do? I remember back in '96, and I know we're going back 12, 13 years ago. I remember back in it's longer than that. I remember back in '96 in the summer of July when Earnhardt flipped at Talladega, and he was a 7-time NASCAR champion. He had done it all, G-Man. He had done it all. And he got injured, and he broke his collarbone. And you go to the next week at the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. He won the second annual race of that in 1995. And you look at Earnhardt, and you saw the emotion on his face when he had to climb out of that race car. And that's what it's about. That is why you don't retire. That's why you don't quit. And I think that we live in a day-to-day where motorsports has got, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, G-Man, but it's a dangerous sport. We know that. We know that as announcers. We know that as media people. We know that as the drivers. When they buckle up in those cars, they know there's a possibility that they might not come back home that day. They might not come back. Anything can happen. And it's not just on the racetrack. We've seen crazy stuff happen in the pits where fires have happened. We had an incident happen at Richmond in the Xfinity race where the pits caught fire. Thank God nobody got hurt. But I think we are in a day-to-day where, and I said this before, when Earnhardt got killed in 2001, I think it made a lot of people think a lot about their life. And how long do I want to race? Do I want to retire from the sport? I think that's why we saw guys like Mark Martin and Ken Schrader and Kenny Wallace and now Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart in 2016, because they've done it all. They want to retire. They want to enjoy life. They don't want to go out in a fiery crash.
Well, how far can you push the envelope is the question, Wesley. I mean, not to cut off on the subject here, but I want to take a moment here. We talk about drivers from the past and everything. Just recently, we lost I call him an icon in the USAC division there, Tony Elliott, involved in a plane crash. So we want to make sure we pay respect and homage and tribute to Tony and the family and everybody there from the USAC series. I mean, he was a great name in the USAC division there. Tony was a really great individual when it comes to showing up at a racetrack no matter where it was. He was always there, smiles on, good with the fans, good with the public, great with the media. But, condolences out to the Elliott family there for the loss of Tony. 54 years old, or 54 years young. I shouldn't use the word old because that just makes me cringe. But, God bless you, Tony, and all you did for USAC racing and the sport of auto racing for the race fans. I just wanted to get that in there, Wesley.
Yeah, I had the privilege to meet Tony Elliott a long time ago, about 10 years ago, I think it was. He was running in the USAC Silver Crown Series, and they had an event at Hickory Motor Speedway, and I was actually the regional announcer for USAC with the Carolina Ford Focus Midgets, and it was a national tour. We also brought in the Midgets for a touring event, and I had the opportunity to work with probably another great microphone talent, Rob Klepper, who does a lot of stuff with MAV TV now. And me and Rob Klepper announced that race, and actually had the chance to go down in the pits and meet Tony Elliott. Super great guy. And, he loved racing, but he loved his family. He loved his family. He was a great father, a great friend. It's sad, very sad. My thoughts and prayers with the entire Elliott family in this loss. And, again, just a tragic incident with that plane crash that happened yesterday.
Absolutely. Wesley, we need to take a little station break right here. We'll get back touch on our next subject here. We'll move on to the Junior Motorsports press conference here. But, folks, it is 9:25 p.m. right here at WMRG 95.3 FM with the G-Man and your host tonight. And actually the full-time anchor, media director here, Mr. Wesley Outland here with the Life in the Fast Lane radio network here. Glad to have him on board now as race consultant here, the media director here, and the NASCAR representative here for 95.3. Life in a Fast Lane, a brand new radio show here, built and designed with Wesley and the G-Man here. And folks, we're just so glad that you could be with us here tonight. We take this opportunity to spend some time with you, to come into your home tonight, maybe down to the race shop, a rainy night here in the Carolinas, wherever you may be. We're glad you took time to sit down and listen to us here and enjoy the show. But tonight's show is brought to you from the good folks here at the M&L Riggers Incorporated. Also, the show is brought to you tonight from the U.S. Bonding Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Show is brought to you and underlined from the M1 Roofing Group out of Indian Trail, North Carolina. All comments and opinions here tonight on the Life in a Fast Lane show are those of the G-Man and Wesley Outland right here based at 95.3 WMRG. All replays of the show are permissible with the consent of WMRG 95.3, the G-Man and Wesley Outland. Tonight's show is brought to you in full. 3 segments here brought to you tonight. All mobile apps and downloads and all free apps, Android and through the App Store, through the good folks here at the M1 Roofing Group out of Indian Trail. You can find us on the mobile apps here. Just key in SMR Motorsports 95.3. Download the app. It's absolutely 100% free. Enjoy. We're glad you could join us here at Life in the Fast Lane. Well, Wesley, tonight, this week here, another press conference, a very exciting press conference, actually. We were speaking about Junior Motorsports here and some of the things developing over there here. And want to also One Main Financial jumping on board with Junior Motorsports. And for 2016, bringing on board the driver for the One Main Financial, Elliott Sadler. Your comments.
I'll just say this, and I don't think we need to divulge in this subject for a very, very long time. Look, Elliott Sadler's got the cake, the T-shirt, and he won it and done it. He's done everything in NASCAR. He's had a great career. He's one of those guys that I think he needs to be like Tony Stewart. I mean, he's raced. He's done it all. He's done the Xfinity Series. He's done the Sprint Cup Series. Financially, backing didn't help him out. He lost his ride with a lot of things. All right, let's go back to Xfinity Series. I don't think that Elliott Sadler is going to rest until he gets that Xfinity Series championship. He wants that championship. And, okay, well, if you can't beat him, join him. And I think now that he's good friends with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I just think that this is a step in the right direction to help Elliott Sadler get towards retirement and win the championship.
Whoa, that was a slick move there.
No, I think it's a step in the right move for him to get into retirement and win that Xfinity Series championship. Because he's point blank said on the networks and everywhere that's what he wants. He wants that title.
Well, case in point taken there, race fans. You heard it right there. We give Elliott Sadler a retirement party real early once he joins up with Junior Motorsports. I don't know how to take that, but I gotta say you're right, Wesley. Elliott Sadler, Emporia, Virginia. Hermie Sadler, the whole entire Sadler crew up there. Great family, great people.
Yeah.
The name Sadler, what they've done up there in Virginia, what they've done for the sport of racing. Elliott has been one of these drivers. Again, Elliott, let's look at it this way, Wesley. Elliott Sadler is a driver that's like a junior. He has the talent. He has what it takes. But now, can they put the right formula together? Can they get the right, I'm going to use your terminology because I love it. Can they put the right cake mix together and put Junior Motorsports and One Main Financial up on the ladder?
If they don't, it's not going to happen. I mean, bottom line, Junior Motorsports is they got to win today with Regan Smith at Dover. He's got a great race program. I even think that Junior Motorsports Xfinity program is a lot more better driver talent than what other teams have. And I believe this. And again, I don't want to stay on the subject forever. I want to talk penalties and restarts and boxes, increasing the restart zones. But no, this is a beaten horse, and I think that Elliott Sadler is basically, it's great. I think it's awesome. He's hooked up with Junior Motorsports, but I think this is the last straw. I think this is the final. This is the final ingredient. If he can't lock in that championship, what can he do?
All right, so this is the